Hello, my name is Britt Curry, and my thesis is the various protagonists of Ghibli works can be viewed through a lens of Buddhist philosophy. There are many teachings, but today we will be defining and working with the most important ones. The Four Noble Truths, the Noble Eightfold Path, and the Five Precepts. The Four Noble Truths is the core of the Buddhist teachings and is focused on four steps: recognizing suffering, finding the origin of suffering, refraining from doing the things that make us suffer, and finding the path that leads us to refrain from doing the things that make us suffer. This path is called the Noble Eightfold Path. Specifically, this consists of 8 steps, those being right view, right thinking, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right diligence, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Finally, the 5 precepts refer to the core ethical code of Buddhism. So, how can we apply these concepts to our protagonists? While I think these concepts are present in various Ghibli films, today I will be focusing on 2 characters, Porco and Kiki, mostly referring to the concept of right view. With right view, the Buddha argues that at the base of our views are our perceptions, and our perceptions are made of our afflictions, those being feelings such as craving, anger, ignorance, wrong views, and prejudice. Most of our perceptions are erroneous, and most of our suffering comes from wrong perceptions. This concept is evident in the character of Porco, with one core aspect of his character being his self-deprecation at being a pig. With Porco, it was mostly just, I based it off of that one scene where he's talking to Theo, and he's got the guilt over his comrades dying, and he doesn't see himself as human after that incident. And if you notice, I mean, it's, obviously it's not subtext, but, a lot of his lines are like, do you think I'm a human? Like, I'm a pig, right?
Oh, that does make sense, actually, yeah.
Yeah, he's removed from society. He removes himself from society because he has his guilt and he feels like he's unworthy of love. But there are other characters like Theo who give him this, give him love and see him for who he is. While no character completely follows all the steps on the Noble Eightfold Path, one that comes close is Kiki. From watching the film, Kiki seems to follow right speech, speaking truthfully and non-cruelly to pretty much everyone she meets, and right livelihood, finding a way to earn her living by working at the bakery without transgressing her ideals of love and compassion. While Kiki is a kind character, she struggles with her self-esteem, leading to her suffering coming from her perception of herself. While there are other concepts that I will explore further in my paper, such as change and impermanence, these are a few that I wanted to touch upon for this presentation.
My name is Alyssa Foreman, and my thesis is how Miyazaki's films are influenced by both Shinto and environmental ideologies, which are kind of the same thing. Shinto is the belief in kami, or as it's translated into English, gods, which is kind of a poor translation. Shintoism originated in Japan. The date of establishment is unknown, there is no official founder or sacred text. Some things you should probably know. Jinja are sacred spaces for kami. Tori are the archways that mark the entrance of each jinja. Jinja and Shinto priests welcome those of any religion. Just be respectful. Environmentalism. Pretty simple to understand. The definition: concern about and the action aimed at protecting the environment. Miyazaki's films don't navigate viewers to any particular faith, but they do invite viewers to see the unexpected and to respect the spirits of nature. One of Miyazaki's most common themes is environmentalism. Miyazaki challenges his viewers to think about the consequences of greed and reflect upon the never-ending struggle between human progress and environmental conservation. Miyazaki's works immerses viewers in a fantastical world where they can come to their own conclusions. Nausicaa, the Valley of the Wind. This film is very environmental, which says a lot about the person that is Miyazaki, as this was an original story by him. Nausicaa is basically an extreme environmentalist risking her life, literally, to help heal the earth. Princess Mononoke. This film asks its viewer to consider the balance between consumption and preservation. By clearing the forest to make way for industrialization, the viewers threaten the environment's equilibrium. I believe that Lady Eboshi and Irontown are given a second chance to rectify the situation because Shintoism is about trying to do the right thing, not good or evil. Spirited Away. The bathhouse is for spirits, or kami, to come and rest. Bathing in Japanese culture, which stems from Shintoism, means purification. The character Haku was a spirit, or kami, of the Kohaku River, which was drained and paved over, that Miyazaki is calling humanity to remember what the natural world does for us, what we owe to it, and how we are failing it.
Hey guys, I'm Dacen Batara, and my group's topic was Shintoism and Buddhism. And my thesis is that Shintoism and Buddhism is actually a major key to Japanese pop culture. 70% of Japan's population identifies with Shintoism and Buddhism, and what that means is that they practice it together. Now, as my other group members might discuss, Buddhism and Shintoism is often very similar, and in a nutshell, when I discuss about Buddhism, I want you to think about the ideology that life is full of suffering, that suffering is driven by our endless desire. The only way to end that life full of suffering is to reach our nirvana, and to reach our nirvana, we have to end our desires. Buddhism and Shintoism both talk about the idea of being reborn after death, but when you think about Shintoism, I want you to think about the ideology of kami. So in my research, the Buddhist belief that life is full of suffering, I arguably can state that this can be seen in all of Japanese filmmakers' works. I have some examples down here, but the first one that really comes to my head is Akira Kurosawa's The Lower Depths. And this movie is about these poor group of individuals living in this village that's really run down. And a lot of the characters feel this way, that they're born poor, and no matter what they do, no matter how much they work in life, that they're never going to go beyond that. On to the next point, the Buddhist and Shinto belief of being reborn. There's a genre called isekais, and not just in anime, but in manga as well, and light novels. Isekai basically means the other world, or another world, and that goes by the Shinto belief that after death, you are reborn. So the examples I give, Spirited Away is an isekai. Once Chihiro goes through the tunnel, she is transported to the spiritual world. The last part of my research I want to discuss is the Shinto belief of kami. My Neighbor Totoro is entirely a Shinto film. Totoro, as stated in multiple times in the film, he is the spirit of the forest. And lastly, I just want to relate this all back to the class. Shintoism and Buddhism, when thinking about these things and thinking about the impact it has on pop culture and on Hayao Miyazaki and Ghibli and Isao Takahata, it's just interesting to think about what would their films be like without Shintoism and Buddhism. And I don't want to necessarily say that without these two religions, there wouldn't be a My Neighbor Totoro, there wouldn't be a Princess Mononoke, but rather, what would it be like instead? Hi guys, Iyanna currently has a family emergency right now, so unfortunately they can't be here to read their slides. So I'll try my best to come in and read their slides for you. So Japanese history of Buddhism and Shinto. Buddhism and Shinto have combined together over time. Shrines and temples have meshed together. Buddhism is looked at for luck while Shinto for happiness, and both balance and help one another grow. So like what I and our other group members discussed, Buddhism and Shinto are very alike. Shinto has kind of evolved from Buddhism, as Buddhism originally came from India and made its way to Japan. Shinto is more evolved to Japan's culture and everyday lifestyle, things to live by, things to think about as they go out throughout their day. So for Shinto beliefs, yet again we're talking about kami and the relation to nature. And for Buddhist beliefs, praying at the tiny temple on the side of the road, or the usage of the Jizo statue. So in My Neighbor Totoro, the tree symbolizes the forest spirit and essentially Totoro himself. While in comparison to the Dosojin and Jizo statues shown in the films, like this one here in Spirited Away, it shows a correlation to Shinto and Buddhism and how they combine together in Miyazaki's work. How this can help the class. Knowing the history behind a certain religion or culture can allow for the films to make more sense and have a deeper meaning while watching. Miyazaki uses this history in order to make his stories more enriched and subtly use these symbols/correlations to Buddhism and Shintoism to allow people to get the chance to understand Japanese history behind it. It allows for people to think more while enjoying a great film. Thank you all for listening to our presentation, and good luck this coming finals week.